You're listening to the Southampton Delivery Podcast, a podcast dedicated to the Southampton Football Club and all of the SFC fans.
You just got to go out and express ourselves.
Fonte with a scooping header.
You just got to get the job done. I'm here to get the job done.
Подача, Остин! Все-таки забил!
It's infield to Mane, 25 yards out. Lovely ball for Pella. Onside, 1-0. Blue fast shot! Oh my word!
Unbelievable. He ran around a bit like Bambi on ice. It was very, very embarrassing to watch.
And now, your host, Matt Markstone. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Southampton Delivery Podcast, a podcast dedicated to the Southampton Football Club and all of the SFC fans. My name is Matt Markstone. I'm the host of the show, and no matter where you are, no matter how you may be listening, whether you were here for episode 1 or you're just joining us for episode 90, thank you for making the show part of your day. I hope that you enjoy it. And looking for enjoyment is something that we often have found ourselves doing recently as Saints fans. And I can tell you that there were genuine moments of enjoyment watching the team play this weekend. But by far, the most entertaining part of the weekend was talking with Yasmin Wiseman, who joins me on the show this week. You can follow her on Twitter and Instagram at Miss YJW1. You probably know her. She's around the grounds a lot. She goes to away games. She goes to home games. She's on the Saints voice panel. So that is pretty much what we talk about this week. Everything from her becoming a fan to her becoming a member of the Saints voice panel to kind of what that looks like and why she does it and kind of how she feels it's going. And we also talk about the game because that's really how the show works. And so we're going to do all of that this week. And it was a great time talking to Yasmin. It's been we tried to set it up before, and I'm glad that she was able to do it this time, even though she was kind of feeling under the weather. And I worked at catering the night before. I got home at 1. I got up at 4. So you can probably hear it in my voice, and I hope I held it together enough so that it doesn't sound too bad. But we won't take a bunch of time here. We'll just get to the interview. And like I always say, thank you for joining the show. Hope that you enjoy it. And here is my interview with Yasmin Wiseman. Saints fan, Saints voice panel, representative, I guess we can say. And, so here we go. We'd like to welcome to the Southampton Delivery Podcast, Yasmin Wiseman. You can find her on Twitter and Instagram at Miss YJW1. You probably know her from just being at the matches or being around Twitter or all of that stuff. But, Yasmin, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking the time to join me. I know you're feeling a little bit ill this morning, but thanks.
No, thank you for having me. Feeling good now.
All right. I was going to make the joke where Saints are making you sick, but I think it's the time for that joke is gone, but I somehow managed to say it anyway, so it's all right. Starting well. But, so, I mean, before we get into the match and all that stuff, people may know you from kind of the Saints voice panel, voting and all that stuff, and you're on the panel. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk about just kind of how you became a Southampton supporter and all that, and then we'll talk about the game. And that should pretty much do it, unless somebody has something else brilliant that they get to us between now and the time we stop recording. So that all sound okay?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So let's just start with kind of where you became a fan, I guess. Are your family fans? Did you grow up kind of supporting Saints, or how did you become a fan of the club?
Basically, I'm from Eastleigh, but all of my family members all support different teams. Like, none of them support Saints, in brackets, sorry about that. They're all Hammers supporters or Spurs supporters. And my uncle took me to my first ever game, and it was Saints and West Ham, and West Ham lost, and I really, really fell in love with Southampton, and it's just always been from there. Like, I just loved it. I've always seen the club as more than just a football team. It's it is literally a second family, and I absolutely adored it. I still adore them now, even though obviously it's a bit of an emotional roller coaster. But that's just how it started. Started from a young age. I think the first game was 97. So, yeah, been following them ever since, and I don't regret it at all. I could have been a Hammers, I could have been a Yid. I chose not to.
Oh, thank you for that, because that would have been terrible. But, I mean, you're talking 21 years of supporting the club then, and there's been a lot of stuff that's happened between now and then, you know, relegation, promotion, kind of that rise, and now, I mean, you've gone from basically League One all the way to Europe. That has to be kind of I don't know. That's something you have to be proud of in terms of just what the club has accomplished and kind of some of the things that you've been able to see, I guess, as well.
Well, absolutely. I would say we've been so spoiled and we've been so lucky in all those years, especially the last, obviously couple of years with Europe. And then, unfortunately, we've all set our standards really, really high, and it hasn't gone that way. But yeah, all the relegation promotion, I think that is all part of being a Saints fan. We're not one of the big dogs, in the whole of the leagues. But that's what we like about it. We are so underestimated. At the moment, yes, we are predictable, unfortunately. But I like how unpredictable we can be at the same time. We can go against the big teams and score big, or we can go against the little teams and score small. But we're still getting the points. Unfortunately, it's just not going our way at the moment. So I'm forever the optimist when it comes to Southampton. But I think I'm still a little bit of a believer, and I'm hoping to continue to be a believer for as long as it takes.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to do that sometimes. It's hard to tell yourself that it's, you know, that it's okay to kind of have some belief going into each week, and kind of every Saturday afternoon, because the games are on quite early here, and every Saturday afternoon, it's like I'm a little bit dejected about the results sometimes and how things went down. And, you know, last week was different after we played Liverpool versus this week against Wolves. But the feeling is essentially kind of the same because of, you know, we came away with no points, and it's disappointing to watch a team play that way or whatever. But by next week, you know, or by the middle of this week, as we have the Carabao Cup match against Everton, I'll be ready to go again. And it'll be, you know, because you have to have some belief. Otherwise, kind of what's the point? You know, if you're just expecting the team to go out and get beat, I don't know that I can't do that. Even if it's the right thing to do, if it's the sensible thing to do, I can't do it.
Yeah, that's one thing what we were talking about yesterday, how even though obviously with Southampton playing at the moment, you still have that bit of faith at every single game. Then after the game, it's like, oh, you feel deflated, or you feel like, oh, okay. And then that evening, whether it is a Saturday or a Sunday, you feel a bit like, right, not doing it anymore, blah, whatever. 24 hours later, you're like, right, back on it. Let's support the team. Let's go for it. And then obviously it's the next game, and it's like, okay, and we go again, and we just keep going. It's literally like a broken record at the moment. We just need some form of boost that's going to change everyone's attitude towards it, because everyone's sort of having the same feelings at the moment. It's like, oh, that was expected. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, same old. And it's like, we don't want to have that. And I know I can't speak on behalf of the club to be like, yeah, we're going to change, but it's like only they can make the change. But time will tell. That's all I keep saying. Time will tell. But I'm hoping it's soon. Something needs to change very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess, you know, you talked about your family a little bit, being supporters of different clubs, and that. How did you get to games early on, or how did you kind of get to the point where you were able to actually go to the matches versus having to go watch West Ham or having to go, support Spurs or whatever?
Well, when it was with Saints, I would go with my granddad.
Okay.
He liked football. He didn't necessarily have a football team that he supported, so he would come with me. And then with West Ham, I used to go to West Ham quite a lot when I was younger, until the age of, I think it was about 15. So I'd always go up to Upton Park with my uncle. Yeah, I just generally, I love football. Okay. I love the atmosphere. I love everything about it.
and Eastleigh has a team as well, a lower division. I don't know if it's non-league. It's non-league probably, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have a team, and there is I guess, I don't know if I can't, like you said, I can't speak for everybody, but I think I have the assumption anyway that everybody in England supports their local team. So everybody supports the team that is directly kind of closest to them. And it's just not true. Like, I talked to a lot of Saints fans who have families like yours who, everybody supports somebody else or they support Newcastle or whatever. But that's not this is going somewhere I wasn't planning on talking about, but this goes, there are plenty of people on Twitter who will criticize me for being from California and supporting a team in England. And it's, I don't know, whatever, it's fine. But like, it's nice to know that not everybody, like you didn't have to become a Manchester United supporter or a Spurs supporter or anything else because people around you were that you chose Saints and now you're there, and whether or not the people around you as a result choose Saints or not, like that's their own choice. And it's nice to know that it's not just a local thing, even though I think there probably are more, obviously people live in Southampton. The likelihood they're going to be a Saints fan is probably greater than, somebody living in Newcastle actually supporting Southampton, if that makes sense. Yeah.
But like I said earlier, what I like is how one football team can connect so many different characters around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I love about it. So it doesn't matter if you're not from Southampton. It's just amazing how you've decided on your own accord to support Southampton.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, no. Thank you for being so welcoming. And I can say that the 99% of the people I've had interaction with, are great. It's the occasional person who's probably on a fake account tweeting from their mom's basement or, using their mom's phone even, or whatever it is, that they're the people that think they're super awesome and they just enjoy getting under people's skin. And usually I let it go.
Oh, the keyboard warriors. Oh,
yeah,
come across them. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Or the plastics. We're not sure which ones.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've somehow gone from, a family of supporters who support a number of different clubs to going to the matches, everything from your granddad. And now you go kind of to a lot of them, and from the looks of it and from talking to you a little bit, I think that's true. And you've also somehow wound up on the Saints Voice panel. And I want to ask you a little bit about that. But, what made you want to get involved on that level, and in terms of being a representative of the fans, and you had to go through the whole kind of application and then voting process and all that stuff. Like, what made you want to go through all that and to be a part of the panel?
I think, it was an equal opportunity for everyone to apply, and I was just like, why not? Why can't I do something like this? Like, I'm very vocal as it is, and if anyone's going to make a difference, in my opinion, only I can do something about it. So rather than saying like, oh, they could have done this or they should have done this better, why can't I be a part of that, being like, oh, I think they should do something about this, and then see the change happen or give ideas of how they can change it. And me as a person as well, like, I don't take crap from people, and I knew I wasn't prepared to be effectively fobbed off by the club. Like, I wanted to get answers for myself and for other fans, and I don't know, I just wanted to do it. I wanted to go for it. If I got it, great. If I didn't, like, fair play to anyone else who went for it and got it as well. And we're all so different, like, character-wise, but it works. And I think we do have some louder characters, me being one of them. I'm known as Mouth of the South anyway. So so I'm just like, I will, like, if I think something's wrong or it's not right, I will say it. But yeah, I just wanted to give it a go, and I wanted to get the answer. Well, I wanted to get questions out there, and I wanted to give people answers. I get so fed up, even like personally, when I see us as fans aren't getting the response that we need or what we want. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I want that to be a change. I want people to have like better communication. So hopefully I can do something about that and make everyone sort of feel a bit more united with the club, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I want us all just to feel like, yeah, we're all in this together. Let's go. So hopefully we can all make a difference.
Yeah. I mean, because not exactly sure when when the club started putting this out there as a part of something they wanted to do. And I don't know exactly how that idea came about. But I know that, the last couple of seasons, obviously we got rid of Puel after a season, we got rid of Pellegrino, in the middle of the season. So somewhere in there, I think a lot of fans were complaining about the communication with the club and some of the things that I have gotten from talking to some of the fans that are in the area is that the club seems to maybe have lost the connection with some of the people that live in the area that are the home fans. And it to be honest, it kind of, I don't think they ever mean anything negative towards me. But the club, I mean, I have more access to the club on TV than most of the fans that live in Southampton. If you don't go to the games, you don't have the opportunity to see them as easily as I do, Sure, it's a 7 a.m. kickoff, but I can wake up at 6:50 and turn the TV on and watch, and I don't have to leave my house. I don't have to do any of that stuff. It doesn't cost me, hundreds of pounds a match to travel away to Wolves and all that stuff. Like, I don't have to do that. So I understand that frustration. And at the same time, I think the club is caught kind of in a weird spot because if you're not going to market yourself, if you're not going to expand, then people are going to get on you for that too, and wonder why we don't have a bigger support maybe in the United States or in other places around the world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I was saying in regards to like the voice panel. Like, communication is number one, especially when it comes to the club. Like, we've always had the whole, the Southampton way, and we have lost that, and we are trying to gain that back. And a lot of it is obviously making the club and the fans feel connected with each other, and it has been lost in translation. Like, it just seems like the fans are giving, like they're giving their support, they're giving their love, they're giving everything, and the club is just taking. Like, they give back a little, but it's just, we want to go hand in hand in this. Like, there's, like we've done in the past, we'll go through all the leagues together, we'll get promoted, we'll do this. Let's all do it together. Don't just do it on your own and expect us to follow. Like, we're all as one in this. Like, Southampton, like I said, it's a second family. You wouldn't treat other family members like that. So let's treat us all equally. Let's treat us all the same. And I think it is just communication. Like, with social media especially, it is a free platform. And you can reach hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people at one time. So why are you not doing that? Like, yes, with all the positive feedback, they're really good. They are amazing. When it's bad, not so much. So I think they need to find that happy medium and just still be like, we're going through whatever they want to call it, a kerfuffle at the moment, but let's just, thank you for this, that, and the other. Like, all your supporters, let's do this, like, together. And none of this just like, yeah, we keep going. Just hold your hands up and be like, right, that was shocking. But, I don't know how they can do it, but they just need to have better communication with every single fans all around the world, not just Southampton or not just in the United Kingdom, everyone.
Right. Can I ask you a little bit about the meeting? I know you guys had a panel meeting, and I know the minutes are not out yet, but can I ask you a little bit about kind of what was discussed at the meeting, or kind of how that meeting went in your I just kind of in your opinion? Like, was it what you expected when you walked in? Did you kind of get out of it what you thought was going to happen?
I thought it was a productive meeting, and I come out there, and I obviously, I can't just speak on behalf of everyone, but from the people I did speak to about it, everyone was very positive about it and feel that we are, or we will be, making a difference. Just down to the club if they're actually going to action what we've said. But no, it went very well. It was very long. I'm trying not to give too much away until the minutes are out. But I think, I really truly believe, like, it is positive. So obviously only time will tell with the club, and we haven't necessarily give them like a time of like when these things need to be done by. but I assume they will be done by our next meeting, or hopefully we will see some form of difference in what we've said by the next meeting.
Will the minutes kind of detail who was in attendance at the meeting in terms of people from the club?
Yeah, it will say exactly who was there and obviously who wasn't there. And then you will see with all the minutes, like what was said, like the questions that were asked, or the subjects, what we were talking about, and there'll be bullet points of what each person has said. So you'll see exactly what was said by who, not at what time, but you'll see a brief encounter. In my opinion, of the minutes, they are true, but they are very brief.
Okay. Well, and I guess some of it was they probably don't want to put all the detail in there, because not everything that's suggested or said in the meetings is going to actually happen. Of course, it's kind of a discussion, so we'll have to see. But I'm hoping that there's some sort of positive impact. I know some people kind of wrote the panel off immediately as almost a way for the club to placate the fans, and I'm not sure. I mean, you have to believe that the club are doing everything with the best of intention, I think, until they prove you wrong. And I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Oh, well, I've got the front row seat in the panel, so being involved in it all, I think they're definitely trying to make a difference for everyone, and all of the ideas and suggestions we've put forward, they are thinking about them, and a lot of them, they had no idea that these things were going on. So again, communication, like they had no idea that some fans felt this way about X, Y, and Z. So we're telling them, no, you need to improve on this. And they're like, oh, we thought we were doing okay. And we're like, nah, sort it out. So, yeah, so they're learning new things. We're learning new things. And hopefully we're working together, and it will change things. I'm hoping. If not, interview me in like a year's time and I'll be crying.
All right. I'll make a note of that. Yeah, we can do that. We'll set that up. Hopefully it's not just a 60 minutes of you sobbing,
No.
which, it wasn't 60 minutes of sobbing yesterday, but there's quite a bit of sobbing, towards the end of the Wolves match. Yeah. And I guess I know you went up there yesterday. You went with on the coach, not the official coach, but Southampton away travel. And you seemed to, from what we talked about beforehand, it seemed like you guys all had a pretty good time in terms of getting up there and getting back, and everybody was safe. And overall, maybe result aside, a decent time.
Yeah, it was a good day. Everything went smoothly. So yeah, it was good. Pub was good. The game, questionable. Yeah. And we got home safely. So there's probably a few more positives in there somewhere, but just the game itself, probably not as many.
Yeah, sometimes the game will overshadow some of the other things that happen, but with time, hopefully some of those wounds will heal. And yeah, did you guys? I know Freddie from the Ugly Inside mentioned they're stopping in Birmingham to have a drink because all the Wolves pubs are or the pubs around the stadium are kind of home fans only. Did you guys have to do that, or were you able to find a pub near the Molineux?
Oh yeah, it was. Am I allowed to mention the pub?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's called the Blue Brick, and it's literally like it took not even 5 minutes from the ground.
That's perfect.
Yeah, so no, we didn't have any trouble, and we were walking with Wolves fans to the game. We were walking with Wolves fans back to the coach. So I know some of them can be a bit rowdy, but no, we were all right.
yeah. I mean, there's that subset of fans in every club, I think, that are slightly ridiculous.
I think they watch too much Football Factory.
Yeah. I've YouTubed or Googled a couple of those episodes, and whatever, it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk a little bit about yesterday, and I don't know, how soon you get up to the stadium, or how soon the coach arrives, or who's made aware of team news and stuff like that, like right away. But when you actually took a look at the lineup and stuff like that, like, were you surprised at any of the changes that were there, or any of the changes that maybe weren't made?
I'm still questioning Yoshida. Like, I think we're definitely missing him, and I don't know. Like, you look at Wesley Hughes, however you say his name, like,
I say it incorrectly. That's okay.
I'm just like, Wesley. Every time I'm at the ground, I'm like just shouting Wesley because I'm like, is it Hugh? Is it Hugh? Whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm just, he's made, it's not just him, collectively as a whole, we've made mistakes, but I think he's one of the big names that are coming up a lot when it comes to our defence. And I think he needs a bit of a break. And Yoshida, I think we are missing him. I generally think we are missing him. What do you think?
Okay, so thinking back to a couple of seasons ago, anytime Yoshida was in the lineup, there was a huge collective groan from everybody, right? Because he was due for a mistake. He always seemed to, whether it was a poor back pass or not being aware of a player kind of running off of his shoulder, whatever it was, he was the guy that got blamed for a lot of stuff. And to be fair, he made quite a few mistakes, but he's grown from there. And I think as a center back, sometimes that's a position that takes longer to develop, and maybe the pace and things like that aren't necessarily as important maybe as reading the game and kind of positioning and things like that. And that stuff comes maybe with time, and he's definitely gotten better. The ability or the opportunity to wear the captain's armband for his country on quite a few occasions, consistently starting for them, having a good performance in the World Cup, all of that was great. But he's come back, and him and Bednarak have not really featured. I'm sure we'll see them midweek.
I hope so, because I think as well with Jan Bednarak, I think he would make a difference. Or even Stevens, I don't know. Obviously, we're all not the managers. We could be managers as much as we want, but we just have to, as soon as the team is out, you just have to just go with it. Okay, he's obviously picked them for whatever reason. We can't change it. It's on paper now.
Right.
So, but I know.
And I was going to say, I'm not sure, Mark Hughes doesn't seem like the kind of guy who's going to be pushed around by management and things like that in terms of the guys they want to play and things like that. Obviously Vestergaard was brought in to fill a role that we did not have in terms of being a physical center back. But there was even an instance yesterday where he was kind of shoved off the ball, I think, for the first goal. And there were moments of just collective disaster in terms of defending, and there have been, but I'm not sure how long that takes to fix, or if that's just down to individual error or just I don't know. But it does seem, and I wanted to make this point, that it does seem like we have a lot of the same center back. Like a lot of our center backs are tall, thin, good on the ball, maybe not the most physical. And I don't know if we just have too many in the same mold. If that's part of the issue, that's part of the reason that maybe Bednarak and Yoshida don't get in the team, is because they're a right-footed version of Wesley Hoot.
Yeah, but I think I read this. It was last week or the week before, that the only record that we have in defence, and it's obviously not to do with blocking a goal or anything. It's we have height on our side. We've got the tallest defence. So it's just it's just why are you giving us that? Height has nothing to do with it. Just please, just change it up a little bit. Hopefully, and I mean hopefully, they change something for obviously the Everton game, but it's not in the league, so it's not really helping us.
Right.
But I just don't see why they just can't make just small changes. Obviously, we've just said, Yoshida and Bednarak, and get Stevens or just something, just zhuzh it up a bit. If that doesn't work, okay, it's not just them.
Right.
We'll go back to the drawing board and we'll start again. But they just don't seem to be changing things. It's just, okay, it's a different game. That's the change. It's no, you need to collectively change your team or the formation, selection, whatever. Try different things just for the sake of us as well.
Yeah, I mean, and Hughes is actually being fairly, he's very consistent with his team selection for the most part. Save injuries or whatever, you can kind of have a pretty decent idea who's going to be in there. It's almost a guarantee that Gabbiadini will not start, no matter what. And why? Long was injured yesterday, so Austin and Ings come in, and I don't know. Overall, I think Wolves. Actually, let me ask you this: from the start of the game, what how did you think the game began? Because from my perspective, from watching here, it looked like Wolves kind of came out, and for the first, we had to survive a couple of an early onslaught kind of pressure. Is that kind of how it felt in the ground? And or I don't know. I don't know. I'm doing this very poorly, but yeah.
No, you're not. No, it's fine. No, I think they definitely come out with their heads higher than ours, and they were like, you could see they were hungry for it, and I think equally we were, but I wasn't sure if Saints themselves knew what to expect. Like, yes, they've obviously seen Wolves, but playing them, and they haven't played them in a while. Oh, I wonder what they're going to be like. And then as soon as they were like, okay, they've upped their game, we need to up it as well. And they did for a bit. And like I said, I think it was equal share. Like, sometimes we dominated more than them and vice versa. It just, I don't know, sometimes we looked a bit sloppy. It looked a bit, I would say our pace is so slow. And it's always like, when you're watching them, I can't even explain it properly. Like, they're so used to like set plays that they're like, right, okay, I'm going to run up here. I'm going to stop. I'm going to go backwards. And it's like, can you stop hiding the ball? Let's go forwards. Like, just attack. Like, the ball isn't made of lava. Attack them. Like, I just don't see, they just look so afraid to make that decision. Like, okay, I don't want to go to the ball. I want the ball to come to me. And it's like, you're not magnetic, neither's the ball. Like, it's not going to just come to you. So make that decision. Watching Charlie Austin, like, I love him as a player. But yesterday, personally, I don't think he brought much to the game. Like, he wasn't really working together with people. He was just not in it for himself, but he just at times seemed a bit selfish. But I don't know. I don't think selfish is the right word, but he just didn't look like he was playing for the team. He was just, right, I'm here to play the game. I'm good. If I'm going to score, I'm going to score. If I don't, I don't.
Right. Well, I mean, Austin's got a specific kind of way of playing, I think, that maybe with the introduction of Ings doesn't work quite as well, you know? And I could be wrong about that, but it definitely seems like since Ings has come in, that Austin has looked less attractive as an option going forward. And I think last year, a lot of people were fighting for Austin or arguing for Austin to be in the team because he was our only quote unquote goal scorer. And I look at some of the people that we had on the team. Long hadn't scored for a very long time. Gabbiadini had gone through a dry run after starting brilliantly the year before. And then Carrillo, is now on loan elsewhere. So yeah, he was, but now that Ings is there, I think Ings needs and works better with somebody like Long, despite kind of people's dislike of the guy who works really hard. And that, like, granted, that is not everything. Working hard should not be, it's not that hard. It's expected, right? Like that's the least you can do is do your job and do it well. But a lot of people, that said, a lot of people who will make that argument probably don't give their all at their job every day either. So more shots today. I think this is what happens when I get tired and then get super amped up on shots of espresso, where I'm just, I don't know.
Maybe you need to start doing shots of tequila or something. That might zhuzh it up a bit. That might make it very exciting.
I'm not sure what my wife would think if I was drinking it at 5 a.m.
But you could say it's like an Irish coffee.
I could.
Yeah.
Maybe
add a bit of alcohol in there.
Next time.
Yeah, you're going a bit Irish.
Super. Well, next week we play on Sunday, so we'll record directly after that. So it'll either be like super hammered or super excited.
Yeah. That would be. Oh, everyone tune in next week. It's going to be a killer. Do it.
I tend to under promise and then over deliver. I think I've just done the opposite there, but it's okay. We'll make it through. So I mean, one of the things that I looked at yesterday with the formation and things like that was a lot of teams tended to match the 3-4-3 system that Wolves play when they play against them. We had played that system kind of all the way down the stretch last year and then through preseason. Hughes kind of stayed traditional to what he's been doing and working with this season. Any issue with that for you, or do you think that's that's us actually like doing what's best for us instead of trying to worry about them, or anything like that you worried about or anything?
I don't know. See, I always do like 4-4-2 because I don't like it when we have a lone striker because it just evidently it doesn't work. You need someone there like paired up with them to help them, release them, whatever. But I think with Wolves you needed to match them, like because yesterday just watching. Not everyone was marking everyone. Sometimes at one point there'd be like 3 Wolves players on one of us. And it's like, can you do the same to them? Can you add pressure on them as well? Like as soon as you add pressure, they panicked as well. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like that for the whole game, unfortunately. So no, I think they needed to, well, there's me being the manager again. Like they did need to match their formation. But no, he went with his own method.
Yeah, and I think we talked about the kind of early pressure from Wolves, and then after that, it kind of settled down, and I thought looked good. There were chances. There were, we were creating as many opportunities at least as they were. Going into halftime, the halftime stats say, we had 7 shots on target, or 7 shots. They had 9. We each had 3 on target. We had a little bit more possession. Like. It was pretty fair, and I think that heading into the game, my expectations were not over the top. I wasn't expecting to go in there and win 2-0 or anything like that. But after the performance against Liverpool in the second half, you kind of hope that they would put in a performance and just play solid and consistent and be in the game. And for the first half, I thought like that was accomplished. And then going into halftime, you wonder, or coming out of halftime, going into the second half, you wonder what changes are going to be made that are we going to be able to kind of get over the line or even just hold on for a point or whatever? Because I think if we would have left there with a draw, I think I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, I would have been really happy with a draw. I think during the halftime, I think everyone was sort of like, okay, it's 0-0. Yeah, like if we went home now, yeah, we'd have a point. At least effectively, we've not gone home with nothing. Yes, it might be 0 goals scored and stuff, but we've come home with a point. That's like better than nothing. And then, I don't know, it's always, from experience, it always gets to, 70, 75th minute, and it's like their Duracell batteries die. Like, they really just slow down, and it just gets to the point where it's like, it's too... Well, we're already a bit slow anyway, but the manager needs to be looking at players like, okay, it's 0-0. It doesn't look like things are changing. I need to change things up now. And then do your subs. Like, make your super subs, and make a difference. And then, like, if you need to change the formation at some point, don't leave it too late. Don't be looking at a game going, I'm happy with the draw. Like, that's all it seems like at the moment. Like, well, again, I can't speak on behalf of anyone, but looking outside in, it's always like, oh yeah, we'll go for the draw. I'm happy with the draw. I'm not. Like, go as if you want to win. If you win, fantastic. If you lose, but we can come out there saying, you know what, they've worked their socks off. It's okay, but it just doesn't look like they're giving like 100% effort. Some players do, so I'm not tarnishing everyone with the same brush. But collectively, football is a team sport, and it needs to be, everyone in that team needs to be given 100% effort.
There were definitely points, I think, on both goals that we gave up where it kind of didn't look like everybody was in it 100%. The defending was poor, and
yeah.
And I don't know. I don't always like to criticize players because I think they get a lot of it from everywhere else.
Yeah.
To be honest, like watching back that first goal,
yeah.
I guess we should talk about subs. I mean, we mentioned having an impact. The subs that Wolves put on, my goodness.
They turned the game round for them, obviously, and we needed to do that, and it just didn't seem. It just wasn't happening yesterday. Like, I don't know. I really thought, like, I like Armstrong, but I don't know what's really happened in the last, obviously he's not been played, but I remember when he came on a couple of weeks ago and he made an impact then. But now, well, obviously in friendlies and stuff, but now it's like, where you at? What are you doing? Like, I don't know, like, it doesn't seem like anyone's getting really excited by the subs. It's like, okay, I can't see them making a huge change or a huge impact or anything. But that's just me. Like, still, obviously, I like our team, but it's still like you need a bit of fire in their belly, and they don't seem to have that.
Yeah. I mean, Bertrand goes into the book on, I think, 50 minutes. Like, so it started second half, and partially through injury to Costa on their team. Troyer comes in, but he immediately goes in and goes over to their right, which is our left, which is running at Bertrand on a yellow card. And this guy is, I mean, he's got all the pace in the world. He's a little bit of a loose cannon, but, that was going to be an issue. And they mentioned on the TV coverage here that Redmond and Bertrand had a kind of a discussion about, I'm going to need maybe a little bit more cover or whatever, because that's going to present a liability for us, because Bertrand obviously doesn't want to get sent off and all that stuff. But and he's the guy, Traore is the guy who comes in and has an impact for their goal. And if you watch, Bertrand kind of gets caught further up the field, doesn't make the tackle, and then it's Wesley Hoot who has come up for criticism over and over again against Traore, who just kind of beats him basically and puts the ball into the box. And this is where Vestergaard gets shoved off the ball a little bit, which I don't want to see. Like, obviously he's kind of coming for the ball, and then he can't, he can't commit a foul. He can't give away a penalty or anything like that, but he gets shoved off the ball. Their forward lays it off, and then it's in for Caballero puts it in, and they're up 1-0. And at that point, that was it. Like that, I think all the momentum we had, all of the hope that we had for getting a point out of the game was kind of gone. I tweeted something like, okay, guys, it's, 10 minutes to get this, whatever. And then obviously that tweet did not age well. And we were down 2-0 pretty quickly after that. But I mean, what was the feeling in the away end when that first goal for them went in? What was the feeling for you?
It's so hard because, like, ironically, kept looking at the time, and it's like, I think it must have been like 72, 73. And it was like, okay, probably it's going to be about 20 minutes, with extra time. So it's like, right, 20 minutes. Like, do we still hold on to it? Do we go for it? Like, let's just keep going. And then obviously they scored on like the 79th minute, and it was just like biggest huff from everyone. Like, oh, okay, we've got 10 minutes let's hold on to this. Like, just a 1-0 like loss if it's going to be that. And it's predictable. Like, it was just like, okay, final third of the second half, and it was just, I don't know. It's so hard to explain, but it was just like, you could feel it was coming. It's like, okay, they're going to get a goal. And I even had texted my friend at half time saying, I reckon they're going to get a sneaky one. And he was like, no, you look like you're playing pretty well. I was right.
Yeah.
It was like, and they did get a sneaky one. But, I don't know. It was just, you could see on all of their faces as soon as they scored, it was like their heads just dropped even lower, and it was like, oh, okay, it was almost like they admitted defeat right there and then. And you shouldn't do that. Like, you're there to play the sport for 90 minutes, unless you're a sub, obviously, but to play it till the end. Like, we've seen it in the past. We've got 3 goals in like 2.5 minutes. It can happen. It may not happen again, but these things can happen. You've seen other games that, they could be winning 3-0 and then they get beaten 4-3. Like, anything can happen, but as a sport itself, it is unpredictable. But it just seems like Saints, they're just so, they admit defeat too quickly, and they just become like, oh, okay, we've lost this one, let's just like plod along. And then they get lower and lower, and then unfortunately, they got another. And it was just like, you know what, if we lost 1-0, it would have been like, it was a loss, yes, but okay, it could have been more. It wasn't as worse as it could be. But to go up there and lose 2-0, yes, they're playing well. I'm really not faulting them as a team, because from what we've seen, they are doing amazingly. But we shouldn't be going there expecting to be like, oh yeah, we're going to lose. And that's what it feels like at the moment. Like every single game, it's like, yeah, we'll be lucky if we get a draw. And it shouldn't be, yeah, we'll be lucky to get a draw. It should be, you know what, we're going to win. And then if you don't, like I said, you want to, like, if you're going to lose a bit of pride, not just be like, yeah, went to balls and lost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, oh. I'm going to have a tantrum now and sulk.
That's okay.
I'm reliving it all now. I'm like, oh no, yesterday seemed so far away, and now I'm like, oh.
Bringing it all back.
Yeah.
I mean, after we conceded the first goal, obviously the idea would be to push forward and push for an equalizer. Of course, that leaves you open to counterattacks, and it's something that Wolves had looked, I guess, vulnerable to earlier on in the match, where when they came forward, we had several opportunities and several chances came from winning the ball back and getting it forward quickly, and we looked okay doing that. Obviously, we didn't convert any of those things, but once we conceded, there were several kind of last ditch tackles. There was a sliding tackle from Hoot. There were a couple of other saves from McCarthy from the header and things like that off of a corner, which I thought was probably winds up being the highlight of the match. I think for us is him making that save, smashing his face on the bar, and then getting back up or whatever. Be as proud of that as you want. But I thought that second goal for them, it looked like it was coming.
From his legs.
Yeah. Either they were going to, either we were going to tie it because we were going to push everybody forward, or they were going to hit us on the counter and wind up scoring. And at the end of the day, it happened. But I don't know, like if you look at the match as a whole, even, I mean, take the two plays where they score out of it, where we defended poorly, and that's something that we obviously have to work on. And I think Vestergaard mentioned that it was down to just individually defending in times like late in the game. Like they didn't do good enough in that. Is it that, or do you think it's something more widespread within the team or the club?
I think it's a mixture of absolutely everything. Like, you can't just pinpoint it on one thing, because if you could pinpoint it on one thing, we would have had it sorted by now and a couple of seasons ago. But I just, like I said on my tweet yesterday, that it just doesn't seem like it's errors anymore. It just seems like it's habit. Like, it doesn't seem like you see their videos of them training and saying they're improving and progressing. It's like, well, what are we getting from it? Well, like, how can we see that you're progressing when we're getting the same results every single time? Like I said, it is a mixture of absolutely everything. But watching the game, and I've already mentioned probably several thousand times already, it's the pace. Like, we are so slow paced. We just don't look like they don't look like they want to make the decisions to go forward. And when they panic, they go backwards. It's like, why are you going so far backwards? Like, you don't need to be doing that. But they do it. And it's like, you can hear it probably, I don't know if you can hear it even on the telly. All of us are like, why are you going backwards? Like, shouting. Like, it's awful. Like, no. And actually, with the saying, like, obviously, it'll be one step forward, two steps back. That's what they do when they're playing football. Like, they'll be going forward, and it's like, great, we've gone 5 steps. Let's pass it back 10. See you later. We'll start again, shall we? And it's like, no, like, it's collectively a lot of problems that we do have.
Yeah.
I can't pinpoint one.
There was one instance yesterday where we had a corner and we took it short, and then the ball wound up all the way back at the goalkeeper without a ball ever going into the box, without a shot ever being taken. Then it's just like, that's the kind of stuff. Like, you brought the center backs forward, everybody was up, and this is what we decided to do. And it is frustrating for me, and I can't imagine how frustrating it is for the away fans traveling and being subject to that. And I don't know, like, and I will say that we can always hear you on TV, not you specifically, but we can always hear the away fans.
Just hear me as well.
We can always hear the away fans, and it's great. And it's one of those things that the announcers here in the United States constantly point out, is that the traveling support from Southampton is always strong and always loud, and you're never really causing any issues, which is nice. But the support is there, and I think that for me, I look at that and I'm happy with that. I'm proud of that, and I think that the away fans deserve a little bit of credit, because let's face it, we haven't won that many games over the past couple of seasons, and you all seem to be showing up no matter what, and yeah.
Exactly. We need some form of bonus, I'll tell you that now. But no, the fans, excluding me, I'm not just going to blow my own trumpet, but the away support is amazing. And we will be singing from the first minute to the last minute, even when obviously you have a couple of minutes of silence, like, okay, they've just scored, like yesterday.
Right.
But we get back singing. And even like their fans, like their home fans for obviously Wolves, their support was insane. And it was just like, we've got to compete with them, and we were given as good as we got. So it was very entertaining with songs and things yesterday. So that's like another positive. Like, it's nice to have like that kind of atmosphere at a game. It wasn't like negative. And then as soon as obviously they scored, it was like, okay, and now they're much louder, and now we're feeling a bit embarrassed.
Right.
Let's just keep singing, like, let's go marching on, shall we?
I guess just, we have one question come in from Instagram that I think is probably worth just thinking about, and maybe we don't need a completely serious answer, because I think we are kind of still early in the season still, but it hasn't been a great kind of result, or a couple of results, or however you want to put it. But Pedro period T21 says, do you think we need a manager? Is the manager the issue, or is it something else? Because I mean, this is the third manager in 3 years. There's not a lot changing, and I know Adam Blackmore put out there yesterday that this has to be down to, or he thinks it's down to, more so the selling on of players and the attempt to replace them, and that this is much deeper than just the manager, and it's not necessarily the fault of the players that are here, because they've been brought in to do it, and they are doing the best they can, I assume. But there's something wider at play here. But I don't know how you feel about it as somebody who's been able to watch the team over the past few years, and the past 20 years, I guess. What do you?
Don't make me sound really old now.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm like, you went the day you were born. How's that? Like, ready to?
Okay. Unpopular opinion, but I don't think it is the manager. I hate seeing it already so soon, where people are asking for his head and stuff like that, like, get him out. I don't think it is him. And what is it going to achieve if we get another manager, like, right now? Like, who's going to come in? Seriously. And, he helped at the end of last season, and whether people like to admit it or not, it was because of him. But do I think, like, the issues are because of him now? He's obviously adding to the effect, but I wouldn't say it's purely just down to him. Like, yes, it is down to the buying and the selling of players. Like, we've never fully replaced some of the players that we have sold. So, it is down to the whole club themselves. Like I keep saying, you can't just pinpoint it on one person. You can't just blame one person for why we lost, or you can't just blame one factor. It's numerous factors. So, no, I don't think it's to do or purely based on the manager, and I don't think getting a new manager will help anything. So, no.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of kind of recruiting and scouting, there was some reports earlier this week that we were potentially looking at a new head of scouting or head of recruiting. And I'm currently scrolling through trying to find names and refresh my memory, because I don't know if we talked about it before we were recording or not, but I worked at catering last night. Got home about 1, got up at way too early to do this. So we'll see. And I cannot find this guy, and I cannot remember his name, so I'm going to stop looking, because I'm now back on September 12th, so I've obviously missed something. So I don't know. We will see. We will see if the club goes with somebody else in terms of recruiting. But I mean, one thing, I guess, before we kind of wrap this up is there anything else that you want to talk about, or did we miss anything, or is there anything you wanted to make sure you said about the team or the panel or anything else?
No, I think everything has been said, what I needed to say or what you needed to ask and say. I think if anyone else wants to ask any questions, feel free. But no, I think we've covered a lot and enough. And yeah, I probably might get slated for my opinions, but
no, I think it's and I mean, it's important to me that the show not be just us complaining every week. So it's been nice to, you can be upset, you can be disappointed, you can have a good discussion, and it was nice this week to be able to talk about some of the other things that weren't necessarily the game yesterday, the match yesterday. So that is
Absolutely.
nice.
Yeah.
But as someone who goes to quite a few matches and everything else, is there an away ground that you specifically enjoy the day out going to, or is there one place that sticks out maybe to you?
I've always liked Crystal Palace, like Selhurst Park.
All right.
Obviously, I've always loved Upton Park, but obviously it's not there anymore. Just for like sound purposes and the atmosphere, that was amazing. Ignoring the result.
Mm-hmm.
But they're probably my main ones, I would say.
Okay.
And Bournemouth. I quite like Bournemouth. But
yeah.
We shall see. Well, ask me that after we've been to Bournemouth, then I might change my mind.
Sure. Yeah. Well, Bournemouth's quite a small stadium if I'm got my facts straight, right? Smaller venue. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for doing this. I appreciate you coming on the show and being willing to talk to me. You would think maybe 90 episodes in that I wouldn't feel awkward about approaching people to talk on the show, but sometimes it is I'm self-conscious and I don't like, seeming like the weirdo who's just trying to message people. So I appreciate it.
That's awesome. No worries.
All right. Okay. Well, Yasmin, thank you so much. People can follow you on Twitter and Instagram at Miss YJW1. Thank you for your time. The minutes for the Saints panel, Saints Voice panel should be out sometime soon. So we'll see. I'll be interested I may have more questions once they're out, and then maybe we can talk again later on and we can talk more about that.
Look forward to it.
All right. Good luck with whatever match is next. I'm so it's a mess. So
Everton then Chelsea.
Everton and then Chelsea. Well, Chelsea's at home, so that's nice. Yeah. Everton is midweek and very far away. So I don't know what your plans are for that, but be safe either way.
Yeah. Thank you.
That does it for this episode of the Southampton Delivery Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed it. Special thanks goes out to my guest this week, Miss Yasmin Wiseman. She's at Miss YJW1 on Twitter and Instagram. Give her a follow. And Yasmin, I just want to say once again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for giving me your time. Even though you weren't quite feeling well, I really appreciate it. And you did great. Thank you. I don't know if anybody else has ever experienced this or has this kind of anxiety about introducing friends to one another, like friends from two different groups maybe, and you're just never worried how they're all going to get along. But this week, some of my friends got together and they seemed to get along and it was fantastic. So those two friends are the Southampton page on Twitter and Instagram. That's my partner. You can follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. They are at Southampton page. And then the other guy is Matt from the We Are Southampton page on Instagram. He's the guy who did the logo for the show. He's been a guest on here. He runs a great page. Anyway, the We Are Southampton page did an image for the Southampton page, and everybody was happy, and it was great, and it fills me with joy, and that's not something that always happens, especially when I watch the team play. And I'm getting sad, so I'm going to move on. You can follow those guys. You will not be disappointed. The links are in the show notes. If you're new to the show and don't know how to follow it on social media, you can. We're at SFCDELL_IVERY on Twitter and Instagram, and we're at Facebook.com/SFC Delivery. There is no underscore in the Facebook address. You can follow us there, and hopefully you enjoy what you see. The music for this show comes courtesy of the Free Music Archive at freemusicarchive.org. The intro song is Epic Song by Boxcat Games, and the end of show credits that you're listening to right now is Aim is True by Poddington Bear. The links are in the show notes if you're interested. And really, that is it, except to say that if you haven't subscribed yet, you should do so. There are plenty of links in the show notes from iTunes and Acast to Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, and wherever else you listen. So go subscribe, share it with a friend, don't miss an episode. And until next time, remember that together, we march on. I really wanted to read some of these. I'm interested. I put out the stuff so that we can read it on the show. I asked people for a 7-word match summary, but I can't put this up. Well, what do you mean, why can't I put it up? Did you read it? This one's good. The sunshine was nice. We're going down. It's not very positive, but it's good. This one's decent as well. Bring in Maya Ishida and start man marking. Look stronger most of the match. Still lost. What the flip is going on, lads? These are actually all okay. I guess I could have read them. But then we got, for Christ's sake. Shit bottling fuckers absolutely bottled. Don't fucking give a fucking single shit any fucking more. That's not 7 words. But I get it. But that's why I can't put this stuff up there. I can't say that on the show. I know. I don't know. I'm sorry. We have to go now? All right.